One of the most expensive and devastating hurricane seasons in Florida in the past 100 years, and climate scientists are already drawing some conclusions.
ABC Action News reporter Michael Paluska explains how they're studying the impact on our barrier islands to determine what needs to change.
It's tough to see this destruction here on Manasota Key. It was one of the hardest hit areas from Hurricane Milton. This home, the only thing that remains really is like a closet and that bathroom. You see the toilet, the house next door wiped off the slab, and we're talking to experts who tell me we just can't rebuild the coastline the way we used to.
You know, in Florida, it's just going to become more and more difficult to maintain infrastructure and utilities on our barrier islands. It just is. Barrier islands are dynamic. It's not just can we build Fort Knox that would go to sea and be fine. You don't spend money in places where you're throwing it into the Gulf. Spend the money in the places that we can protect over the longer term. And that's how you preserve the coastal economy.
The images we've captured during all of these storms paints an ominous portrait of our present, past, and future.
We can't hold 3,000 plus miles of ocean shoreline in the U.S. and tens of thousands of estuarine shoreline in place forever.
Robert Young is the director of the program for the study of developed shorelines at Western Carolina University. We first met him in May of 2023 at the Tampa Bay Regional Resiliency Leadership Summit in Clearwater. That's where he urged leaders to prepare for the extreme events from climate change.
And when you don't have a plan in place, then the easiest thing to do and the fastest thing to do is just to put stuff back where it was.
How do we build, or can we build, to be resilient to mitigate some of these disasters moving forward?
You know, understanding where we can build and rebuild in the future is a very tricky question. You know, sadly, most places don't have a good plan in place for how they're going to rebuild smarter.
Florida is no different. We know every hurricane season a monster storm could visit our shores. Their names synonymous with death and disaster: Irma, Michael, Ian, Nicole, Idalia. This year alone, Debbie, followed by Helene and Milton, back-to-back 100-year storms. That calm after the storm comes with endless cleanup, and it's not only from storm surge.
It's from these rain bombs and hurricanes that are holding more water than they used to, and we're not prepared to deal with all that extra water.
Young tells me climate change is causing more freshwater flooding. A recent damage estimate for Helene is up to $250 billion. Record rains wiping parts of North Carolina off the map. Since 1980, the U.S. has sustained 400 weather and climate disasters where costs exceeded $1 billion, totaling more than $2.7 trillion.
We really need to have a much more serious conversation about how we can lessen that risk footprint. And it doesn't mean leave the barrier islands, but it does mean taking a serious look at those areas that are experiencing repeat damage, repeat impacts, costing taxpayers, both at the local, state, and federal level, a lot of money to rebuild repeatedly. If you made me the king of flooding, the first thing I would say is please, 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 let's not put any new infrastructure in harm's way. Let's not put new high rises on the ocean front in places where we're going to have to protect them for forever. Unfortunately, we're not very good at that.
On Manasota Key with photojournalist Reed Moeller, Michael Paluska, ABC Action News.